What's going on, everybody? Welcome to OTB. I am T-Bob Hebert, and today I want to talk about quarterbacks, specifically SEC quarterbacks, as the brain trust that covers the SEC at USA Today has ranked their quarterbacks entering the 2021 season. This is a list that I found interesting for many different reasons, okay? But I don't want to influence your thinking. I'm going to read the names, and then we'll go from there. First, on the USA Today top 10 quarterbacks entering 2021 is Matt Corral, Ole Miss quarterbacks. Makes a ton of sense. Corral had some really good numbers last year. 29 touchdowns to 14 picks, could work on that ratio a bit, but Lane Kiffin, offensive genius. Corral can do it on the ground. He can do it through the air. Actually led the SEC in total yards per game. Absolutely. Matt Corral, number one quarterback. Makes sense. Number 2 on this list, JT Daniels out of Georgia. My biggest question with JT Daniels still last season is why did it take so long for Kirby Smart to put him in that spot? He ends up going 4-0, 300 yards a game, 10 touchdowns to 0 picks in those 4 games. How in the world did Stetson Bennett win that job in the first place? In fact, the only question that I have about JT Daniels is whether or not Kirby Smart will really let him thrive, or will he put an artificial ceiling on him. Number 3 on the list, Bryce Young out of Alabama. Sure, he's never played, but I mean, come on, we all watch Alabama, we get it. They're plug and play, and they're not just plug and play, they're plug in and dominate. So I have no problem believing that Bryce Young will be the third best, second best, maybe even best quarterback in the SEC next season. He's a 5-star, surrounded by 5 stars. Now, this is where things start to get a bit interesting. Number 4 on the top 10 quarterbacks, Connor Basilak out of Mizzou. Now, LSU fans are probably saying, yeah, sure, dude, Basilak. He threw for 4 touchdowns against the Tigers last year. He dominated them. He did. But when you look at the season as a whole, you see that that was the exception, not the rule. In fact, on the year, Basilak threw just 7 touchdowns to 6 interceptions in 10 games. And he threw 4 against LSU, 2 against Mississippi State, so just 1 touchdown in the 8 other games. And that is the quarterback ranked 4th in the top 10 entering 2021. Interesting. And look, Basilak made better. He was a true freshman, and there was a lot to like. But I do think it informs you to maybe where the level of quarterback play is entering in 2021. Number 5 on this list, Bo Nix out of Auburn. Nix has been a potential guy for a few years now. 3rd year starting. Brian Harrison, supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. Can he unlock him? Sure, I could jive with that. I have no problem with Nix being 5 on this list. Number 6, Emory Jones. Dan Mullen always gets good quarterback play. Certainly, Emory Jones has left a bit to be desired up to this point. If you're an LSU fan, you probably remember back in 2019 when Kyle Trask was going up and down the field in the Tigers, and they randomly put Jones in there and he throws a pick to Stingley. So they've been trying it for a few years still. I'll never doubt Dan Mullen's ability to get great production out of the QB spot. Now, this is where we get into the great unknown a bit. Number 7 on this list, Will Rogers out of Mississippi State. Took over for KJ Costello, freshman last year. Certainly, you're in a Mike Leach air raid attack, you're going to put up numbers at quarterback. Number 8, KJ Jefferson out of Arkansas. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this guy. Number 9, Ken Seals out of Vanderbilt. Basically falls into that same category. You might be asking yourself, wait, we're 9 players in a 10-player list. Where is LSU? Well, finally, we arrive at Myles Brennan, number 10 on the SEC quarterbacks entering 2021. So I don't know about you, but when I read down that top 10, I've got 3 major takeaways. My first big takeaway, SEC quarterbacking this year, at least in theory, looks like it could be way down, especially from the Mac Jones and the Kyle Trask and the Joe Burrow and the Tua Tagovailoa of recent years. It doesn't appear to be a lot of that entering 2021. I mean, when Connor Basilak, a cat who threw 7 touchdowns to 6 picks, 4 of those touchdowns coming in 1 game, right? He had 7 games with 0 touchdowns. When that is the 4th-ranked quarterback in the conference, as you can see, there's a lot of inexperience taking the field this fall. Now, that also means the opportunity to assert yourself and to climb in these rankings and to make a name for yourself, that is wide open. There's a lot of real estate to be had. My second major takeaway from this top 10 list, I believe that USA Today is severely underrating LSU's quarterback situation. Of course I do. I'm an LSU guy, right? That's fine. How about we just dive into some objective numbers to try to prove my point? And look, I don't know if it's going to be Myles Brennan. I don't know if it's going to be Max Johnson. But my point is, as you'll see, whoever wins the job will be a top 4 quarterback. So if we just look at Myles Brennan's numbers from 3 games last season, he threw for 1,112 yards. He threw for 11 touchdowns and 3 picks while completing 60% of his passes. That's 370.6 yards per game. That's 3.6 touchdowns per game. That's 1 pick per game. Over a full season, we're talking about over 3,700 yards, 36 touchdowns to 10 picks. Interestingly, that 370 per game would have been first in the SEC. 3.5 touchdowns per game would have been first in the SEC. And on the interception side, he threw 2 in game 1, 1 in game 2, and none in game 3. Again, I don't know if Myles is even going to win the job. But for that man to be 10th on your list, when you have somebody who threw 7 touchdowns over the course of an entire season at number 4, if that doesn't show a disconnect or an undervaluing of LSU's quarterback situation, I don't know what does. Think back, just a couple of years ago, 11 touchdowns in 3 games, 370 yards per game, that would have blown your expectations out of the water. And now we exist in a time just a couple of years later where you're not even sure if that guy's going to be your starter. Then once you get past Myles Brennan and Max Johnson, you look at bringing in a 5-star in Garrett Nussmeier. And when you get past Nussmeier in 2022, you're talking about 5-star quarterback Walker Howard. He was just at the Elite 11 quarterback camp in California. This is a camp where 12 of the last 13 quarterbacks that have won the Heisman Trophy have been at a finals or a regional for Elite 11. 15 of the top 20 passers in the NFL from 2019, same deal. Walker Howard just finished 3rd overall at camp according to 247 Sports. By the way, we actually talked to Walker about it. Interviews right here if you want to go check it out for yourself. So in summary, it's not just that the immediate future of LSU football at quarterback looks good, but you could be good for years to come. Now, obviously, they have to prove this outside of Joe Burrow, right? That they can be consistent. So a lot rides on this year. But if Max or Myles, whatever the case may be, if they go out and they dominate this year, then there is a solid argument to be made that the greatest feather in Coach O's cap may be taking LSU from a place where quarterbacks used to come to die to come to thrive. So what do you think? Let us know below. Who do you think is going to start? How do you feel about quarterback play going in the future? My on base and my off base. And remember, look, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when all of our videos are coming up. And we'll see you next time.